All right, we're moving on to the number 3, Michigan State versus number 14, Bradley. A lot of mid-majors squeaking in the first round. The Michigan State, they are the Spartans, another ancient society of people of warriors.
Greeks.
And here we go. If you get this, I will be very impressed. Bradley, what?
They're not the Bears, are they?
They're not the Bears.
Okay. All right. Well then, they're not like the Big Red. No. No. I don't know.
They are Bradley Brave, and their mascot is Kaboom, the gargoyle. He looks like this. I'm gonna throw a picture up. A little scary. Kaboom originated with Hall of Fame voice of the Braves, Dave Snell, who used the term to energetically describe slam dunks during Bradley men's basketball games since the 1970s. Kaboom.
Kaboom. I do like that.
Didn't your Mercer guy have something like that, like a bingo or something?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't like that. No, he would just usually our radio announcer, our voice of the Bears. I'll keep him nameless to protect his innocence here, but when somebody would put up a 3, he'd say, "Got it!" And it was always great. I always enjoyed that.
That was good.
But no, I was gonna say Bradley Braves originally, and I knew they had changed at some point. I knew they got caught up in a lot of the Native American mascot changes. But any backstory to the Spartans? I mean, again, is it just like, hey, they were strong, they were Greek,
There's no, I don't know. I think they just picked it out, and I didn't do a whole lot here because we all know about the Spartans, and if you don't go watch 300, a lot of the lines they said, they were actually said those lines like our arrows will darken the sun. Like that really happened.
That's pretty freaking hardcore.
Yeah.
Man, gosh, I know we're skewing against Greek city-states today, but the Gargoyles, that's almost too far afield for me to really get behind it. I want to go with the plucky upset partly, Josh, and say, man, a gargoyle, that's pretty. But gargoyles also don't move. Like a gargoyle, when I think of gargoyle, I think of something that looks intimidating, but also is stationary. And so I'm not.
I don't want to base all of my arguments off of cartoons I've watched recently, but there was a series on Fox. It was called Gargoyles. I think it might be Disney might have bought it. It might be on Disney Plus now.
Ding the counter. That's our second Disney Plus reference of the show. Who knew that would be such a theme running through today? But yeah, no, and the Gargoyles show, fantastic.
Goliath is awesome. Hudson, that show was awesome. Those Gargoyles
were the game for awesome. The Sega Genesis, Josh.
Super fun game.
Really fun, really hard, but very fun.
It was very hard. It was very, very hard. Like
so you're talking me into the Gargoyles here. You're talking me into the Gargoyles.
Look, I think is that where you're going? I think creativity alone, boom, Kaboom, sorry, cool. Kaboom, the Gargoyle. I just think I'm not feeling the ancient Greek, Italian, not whatever area of Mediterranean soldier. I'm not feeling that today. So I'm pushing hard for Boom the Gargoyle.
Yeah,
Kaboom the Gargoyle. I keep saying his name wrong.
Kaboom. They get a little complicated being called the Brave. We talked about this on one of our previous shows about Auburn and the War Eagle and stuff.
Right.
So you're the Bradley Brave, kind of paying homage to your heritage a little bit, while also, shifting to something that's uniquely Bradley, which I think I'm always going to lean more that way anyway, as opposed to like cookie cutter, Spartan, Trojan. I mean, out of our matchups that we've done today, 3 of them are either Trojans or Spartans. So
right.
Let's go with the Gargoyle, man.
All right, Gargoyle.
Perfect timing. Check.
Ding, ding, ding. And we're moving along here. Our next matchup, number 6, Virginia versus number 11, Cincinnati. Virginia is the Cavaliers. Cincinnati is the what, Matt?
The Bearcats.
That's exactly right. Did you know that Bearcat is an actual animal, and it's not a cougar. It's an actual animal that lives in Southeast Asia. It is uncommon in much of its range and has been assessed as vulnerable because of its declining population. It's called the binturong, the bearcat. The Virginia Cavaliers were royalist supporters in the Royal Colony of Virginia at various times during the era of the English Civil War and the Restoration. One notable Cavalier is John Washington, great-grandfather of our first president, George Washington. Cavaliers versus the Bearcats. What you got?
Wow. Man, that was really good knowledge on both sides. Props to your research department on that one, Josh. When you were going through the Bearcat description, though, and you said it's native to Southeast, and then you didn't say Ohio, that's when I got a little lost. I got a little lost. So I mean, how does a Bearcat, the Bentu Raw, end up as the mascot for the University of Cincinnati or
I, I
Cincinnati University?
I don't know because
I'm
it
not sure.
didn't. It you know how sometimes it talks about cougars like their will to survive, their ferociousness. It didn't
Yeah,
really say that. It seems like they kind of picked something out there, or maybe they just picked two words and it
yeah,
sounded cool,
yeah,
and
and
they found out it's an actual thing. Like people call the Binturong a bearcat.
yeah, bingo. I think you're onto something. If you think back to the old Nickelodeon show Cat Dog, right? I think they
Mm.
just were like, hey, you know what's fierce? A bear. You know what else is hard? A cat. Bearcats. And then the paw works for it. I've always been a little confused by. I know they do have the actual like furry mascot costume for a
Right.
bearcat too. Um, I've always had a soft spot for the Cavaliers just because I thought that was interesting. It's the only other Cavalier I can think of are the Cleveland Cavaliers. Um,
Mm. Right.
and they kind of have this swashbuckling Princess
Yeah.
Bride looking mascot.
I think they use it
Um,
as more like he was acting cavalier, and they're like Cavaliers. I don't know
right.
if that's
Yes.
not necessarily what Virginia is going with here. I think they're
Yeah.
actually referring to the. I
No,
don't maybe
like
not.
they're like, hey, we knew some Cavaliers back in the day, and they said we could call it. Unlike Illinois with their Illini situation, they're like, we called up some Cavaliers, and they
Yeah.
said go for it. So I'm going to go with Cavaliers on this one, just because I'm going to have to save my small North American mammal argument
Mm.
for later in the show. So
And
I'm
well,
gonna
that's
go with Cavaliers.
yeah, and it's not a small North American
It's not even North
mammal.
American;
Yeah.
it's
Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asian. So there you go. And we're at time. So unless you want to use a timeout here on
I
Cavaliers,
agree. Virginia Cavaliers. I like the colors better than I like the orange and bluish kind
yeah,
of purple.
it's orange and blue. It's orange
Yeah,
and blue.
I like
Yeah,
it better than the red, black, and white from Cincinnati.
yeah, that too. Color scheme
Yeah.
very generic, and I'm saying that as a Georgia fan. So
All right, moving on. Number 4, Louisville versus number 13, Vermont. The one that Matt has been waiting for. Vermont is
yeah,
the Catamounts. Louisville is the cardinal bird. Louis the Cardinal. The Cardinal was chosen as the mascot in 1913, selected because the Northern Cardinal is the state bird of Kentucky. The school colors of black and red were adopted later. His costume weighs 50 pounds. All right, so he's lugging around 50 pounds out there.
I believe that.
All right, Vermont Rally is his name. Rally the Catamount. The lowercase catamount is another name for the American panther, cougar, mountain lion, painter, and puma. The last known sighting of a catamount in Vermont was in 1881. It was killed and stuffed and remains in the Vermont History Museum in Montpelier.
Right about the time they ran a newspaper contest. Am I right, Josh? The name is that what it was?
Or an old
That'd
football
be
coach from the Northwest came down and he
look.
liked
I
him.
mean, at that point, you're a rugby coach more than you're a football
Yeah.
coach in Vermont at the time. Yeah. So this is my 2 cents on Catamounts. Okay, I mentioned that the high school I went to, Dalton, Georgia, go Big Red, were the Catamounts, and I always had Catamounts in my head as this Appalachian term for what is more commonly known as a mountain lion or a puma, right? And so to find out that a school way up in Vermont, where again Appalachians go up to Vermont, but in my head, when I say Appalachian, you're not
Right.
thinking Vermont
No.
Appalachian.
No.
You're thinking, Blue Ridge Mountains, Smoky Mountains,
That's
West
right. Yeah.
Virginia, and then that's about it.
Yeah.
But I always
West
thought that was
Virginia
cool.
might be too north for me. That might be too far.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Last time
Maybe
they
parts
saw,
of Kentucky.
yeah, last time they saw a lion in West Virginia, it was Pangea. We were all one landmass at the time. But yeah, so anyway, that's why I'm going with Catamounts in this case. I do. Here's the one thing I don't about Louisville. I love the state bird connection.
All right,
Always been
I
a
do
fan
too.
of that.
I do too.
And I gotta think that they went with red and black just to throw shade at Kentucky. They could not be blue and white, so they basically went with
Mm.
the opposite of both of those colors.
God, I
They
like
went
that.
red
Oh, I
and
like
black.
that.
It's very petty, and I do love that.
I love it.
But so yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of torn, Josh. What do you think?
I'm torn too. I'm kind of leaning towards Catamounts, but like of the people who do birds well, St. Louis Cardinals, Louisville Cardinals.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
they do a good bird.
I don't
They
even think
do
about
they do the
Arizona.
bird right.
I don't even think about Arizona when you say that.
No, but they
and
have like a similar head of the Cardinal. But I'm
they,
thinking St. Louis does it right, Louisville does it right.
well, and of course Arizona Cardinals originated in St. Louis.
Right,
So,
exactly. Yeah.
and the Louisville Cardinal. Here we go. I think we just settled it. Here we go.
Uh
The
oh.
Louisville Cardinal has teeth. It's a bird with teeth. So originally I was going to make some sort of like Tom and Jerry kind of argument here with
Okay.
the cat and the bird.
Right.
But the more I think about it, and the more I think just how much shade they're trying to throw at the University of Kentucky, by being a bird. I mean, everything about them is the opposite of Kentucky. They're a bird
Right.
and not a cat.
Right.
They're red and black instead of blue and white. And they got teeth as a bird, which that shouldn't really exist in the animal kingdom, but it does. All right, I'm going with Louisville.
So Louisville, the Cardinals won. I can't believe you're doing that to the Catamount.
Look, don't hold this against me in a court of law. I'm a Catamount until I die myself, but for the sake of our tournament today, they ran up against the bigger, stronger Cardinals in this case. So